Ashley asked me if I'd write her a song, so I wrote her a song for her awesome show. Her show is cool and it's lots of fun, so get your popcorn ready, everyone. Who will she interview on her show today? The Jonas
Hi,
Brothers
welcome to the
and
Awesome Master
Angela
Show.
Shea.
Today I have my friend Chris Collins. I met him on the mountains. We ski together. He's a lot more adventurous than I am, but that's where I met him. We do main adaptive skiing together. So hi, Chris. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
How did you enjoy skiing? Like how did you get involved in main adaptive skiing?
Well, I actually never skied before my accident. After I went through therapy, I went down to Georgia for therapy, then I came back up to Maine for extended therapy. And when I was up here, actually one of my therapists was involved with main handicap skiing, so I ended up getting almost forced into going because she's like, you have to go, you have to go. I'm like, all right, I'll try it out. I wanted to try every sport that I could after my injury just to get active and hopefully gain some stuff back and be healthy. So,
Now, how did you get your injury?
motorcycle accident. Yeah, it was a bad wreck actually, and I ended up breaking my spine right about chest level. So paralyzed from the chest down.
So was that different for you to go from being able to walk and all of a sudden being in a wheelchair? Was that different for you? Because I don't know the difference because I've been in a wheelchair all my life, so
Yeah.
I don't know the difference. So how did that change your life for you?
It was like a 180. It pretty much threw everything upside down, and basically, I went from being able to do everything I could before to being able to do pretty much nothing.
Because you had to learn how to drive again.
Yeah, yeah. But even a step further back from that, I had to learn how to basically roll over in bed just to get up from bed, to basically do every single thing that I did in a normal day before I went to work. All that took months to actually get going and actually figure out.
And were you active a lot before your accident?
Yeah, not in a lot of sports, but very active.
Because right now you do skydiving. I
Yeah.
don't even know how you do skydiving. So
Yeah, it's a thrill.
how does skydiving work, if you don't mind me asking?
It's pretty simple. When we got there, the guy that I went with had like 13,000 jumps underneath his belt. So he said that during the regular season, the busy season, he could have 20 jumps a day that he was taking people out.
Wow.
I'm like, that's crazy. Cool job. But basically, did the same thing. You harness up to somebody else, like if you were doing a tandem with anybody else that could actually walk or anything. And then we ended up doing an extra harness around my legs and had a carabiner that I'd hook up to my chest once we started the chute. And we actually duct taped my legs together so they didn't flop around. So once we pulled the chute, I grabbed that carabiner, put it up on my chest, attached it there, my knees were up.
That's cool.
And then when we came down, basically you kind of skid on your bottom. Well, he skidded, and then my feet were up high enough that I didn't touch, and it was a nice smooth landing.
Now, how do you bungee jump? I can picture it in my mind, but I'm like, how does he do that?
Yeah.
I would probably fall out of the chair. I'm like, I don't know how you do that with being safe and stuff. How do you bungee jump?
Well, the place that I went to was pretty much, they already have done wheelchairs and stuff with them. So once again, you basically do the same harness as you would be if you were standing up. And then there was an extra harness that went around the wheelchair, because I went with my wheelchair and all. So that extra harness keeps the wheelchair to you, and basically do it the same exact way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And do you still do motorcycles and stuff? Is your motorcycle
Yep.
all? So how did that work? Because I've done four-wheeling before, so I don't
Yeah.
really have to do any modifications to that. But do you have to do any modifications to a motorcycle?
Yeah, well, I started with the motorcycle I crashed on. I modified that up. Basically, I got the idea offline. It's retractable wheels by an actuator. So when I take off, push a button, and they come up. And then back on two wheels, and then when you stop, put the wheels back down by push of a button.
That's really cool.
But yeah, then you have to worry about the shifting, so I had to get an electronic shifter, make sure that you had a thumb brake for the rear brake, because the rear brake is usually on the foot. A couple things here and there like that I had to do.
That's cool. And I know, because I've been skiing, and I know you can go by yourself, but I'm not able to do that. So how did you
Yep.
learn how to do that? I mean, did they have to teach you how to do that like they
Oh,
do
yes.
like they do me right now? Because I have a lot of people helping me right now, like volunteers and stuff, like guiding me how to do it. But I'm like, I'm amazed how fast you can do it by yourself. I'm like, how does he do that by himself? I don't even know if I'll be able to do it by myself. But I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if he went through the training that I'm going through right
Yeah.
right now. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
that's
This is going to be my 5th year skiing. I have 4 underneath my belt, and the first 2 were basically learning how to ski. The first year was just on the bunny slope,
Yep.
and it was hell. I'm not going to lie, falling down every two seconds. So
But then you just got right back up and did it
yeah,
again.
yep, yep.
That's the best way to
That's
learn.
it. Yeah, pretty much the only way to learn, I think.
When I first did it, I fell, and I didn't realize that you're supposed to like not catch your hand, because when you
Yeah.
fall, you automatically catch your hand, and that's what I did. And they're like, no, you're not supposed to do that because you'll break your arm. I'm like, so because my body
instinct.
automatically catched myself, and I'm like, no, I'm not supposed to do that. What are you talking about? And they're like, no, you're not supposed to do that. I'm like, okay, well then how do I do this? So it's really fun. It's like I describe it to people as my own roller coaster. Like
Yep.
that's how I describe it.
Yeah,
But
that's a good way to describe it.
how do
Actually.
you control your speed on it? Like, because I know that the volunteers that I work with control my speed, but how do you control your speed? Because you're all by yourself on the mountain. Like, how
Yep.
do you?
Basically, instead of pointing straight down the hill, just kind of go at an angle and then switch back and kind of get your momentum going back uphill a little bit will slow you down. Or if you want, you can do like a little bit of a slide. You're not supposed to in a mono ski because it actually can wipe you out. But that is one other way that you could do it.
That's cool.
Yep.
And I also wanted to talk about the 6th annual dance that you guys do. Is this like an annual thing you guys do every year?
Yep.
Is it to raise money for the cause that you do? What's the cause that you do?
Yeah. Well, it's through Help Hope Live, and basically it's a foundation that helps me and helps others that are in the same situation. The money goes directly into there, and then they take a portion of it and send it out to people that are in need for spinal cord injuries, and then and the research. And then another portion is actually put into an account so I can use it for my medical bills.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you do any other causes too? Because I've heard from your grandma that you've been on the news before. You've done a lot of speeches.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Do you travel to talk to different people or?
No, well, I volunteer with the hospital, the local hospital, the rehab hospital, and do basically peer visits. So I do a lot of one-on-one with new patients and stuff like that. And then opportunities come up once in a while that I can do like a speech or something like that to people.
That's cool, because
But
when
yeah.
I first met you, I'm like, he doesn't really talk that much. So I'm like, when your grandma told me that you do speeches, I'm like, really? He does? Maybe he can come on the show. So that's when I asked
Yeah.
you. I'm like, you need to come on the show and talk about your experience.
Yeah.
Can you tell us any stories that you been through your life that's been exciting? Like when you first did your bungee jump, how is that for you when you first
Yeah.
did it?
Yeah, I think that's the most amazing thing in the world right there. Bungee jumping was crazy. It's just that adrenaline rush. I thought I was able to just throw myself off the bridge. And I got up there really confident, and I went to go do it. And they have 2 poles on either side, and I'm pulling myself, trying to push myself off, but my arms wouldn't even let me go. Mentally, I wanted to do it, but for some reason, my arms locked up. So I'm like, all right, just push me. But from there, it was just amazing, just a head rush.
So if you had to pick, what would you pick? Would you pick bungee jumping, skydiving, or skiing to do? Like if you had to pick one, what would be your favorite one to do all the time?
I would say bungee jumping was the best out of all of them.
Really?
Only because it's just that
Thrill.
huge rush. Yeah. Skydiving was awesome, and it gave you that little bit of rush once you jumped out of the plane, but it was more of an easygoing kind of thing compared to bungee jumping. Bungee jumping happens real quick, and it's just a quick rush. The good thing about skiing and skydiving is they last longer.
Been getting tired of my motor running, feeling overheated 'cause my life keeps coming. My heart has been troubled by the speed of love. Searching these streets for a soul committed, talking ideas on lust and pity. The fables I found have no place at home. Where I need you to want me, to help me, to tell me the truth. Say I need you to want me, to help me, to tell me the truth, yeah. Ain't no party in a sad city. Ain't no party in a sad city where we roll the dice, pay the price, dance the fools in the back of lies. The road we crave shall drive us all insane. Yeah, outer space is a lovely place, a long lost love and a black hole face, laying on the full shadow of battle and brew. Where I need you to want me, to help me, to tell me the truth. Say I need you to want me, to help me, to tell me the truth, yeah.
Now, me and you have a friend and a similar friend, Monica Quimby. How do you know Monica? Like, it's a small world how we all three know each other.
Yeah, I met her through, what's the name of that place? The non-Northeast Passage, but
Because she travels all over the world.
Maine Adaptive Sports and Recreation, because I keep on changing the name.
I know.
But I
they
met her
changed
when
it
we were,
this week too. I mean, last year too.
yeah, last year, yeah, because it used to be Maine Handicap Skiing. And basically, I met her when we were cycling. I do the cycling events over there. I volunteer my time to take people out on my hand cycle. I go out on my hand cycle, and then obviously we have other bikes for anybody else that wants to try it out. And
That's cool.
take them around the back bay. And I saw her there, and she actually was the one I went bungee jumping with.
That's cool.
Yeah.
She does bungee jump too. That's
Well,
I learned
we went at
something
the
new
same
about her
time.
today.
Yeah, yeah,
I learned something new about her today.
yeah.
So I know you're a thrill seeker, but what other things are you interested in doing other than all the thrill seeking things you do?
I go hunting.
You do hunting too?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Well, luckily I can actually use an ATV or a vehicle, anything that I want to use that would actually be able to get me out into the woods.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, how do you do that with your chair? Like,
Yeah. Oh, I've done it in my chair too, but it's not as fun. You don't go as fast. It takes a lot more effort to get out in the woods, and plus you're making a lot more noise. and then by the time you get there, you're sweating wherever you're going. So it's a little bit more work. So I kind of resort to either doing hunting in a field or going out in the woods on a four-wheeler, hunting off that.
Now, does your dad do a lot of things with you too? Because I heard at the dance that he does a lot of things with you too. So do you
Yep,
guys?
actually, he went skydiving with us.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah,
did he
it was
do
awesome.
skydiving with you?
Yeah, and he actually went twice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys do fundraisers? Because I think I saw a picture of you and your family doing a fundraiser for motorcycling. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's right.
Yep. Yeah, along with the dance, actually, we do a motorcycle ride every year out of Bentley Saloon in Arundel. And, oh yeah, it's a blast. And the same deal, all the money goes into that charity, and then it gets dispensed into the two different categories there. And
That's cool.
yeah, it's been
So it goes to the same.
4 or 5 years since we started that. Yeah, we started it pretty much the year after my accident. And 2 years ago was actually the first time I actually was able to ride a motorcycle in the ride itself. Other than that, before that, I was actually in like a sidecar. So it was an honor.
So I know that you do the dance, but how do you do the motorcycle one? Like, do you ride around somewhere and then like go for a mile somewhere, and then that's how you raise money?
Yeah,
something?
well,
Like,
it's
how does that
all
work?
basically registration or donations. We have both. You can register your bike to go in the lineup, and it costs per head. So if you have a passenger, it costs a little bit extra for them. But basically, we get all the donations there, and then we have raffles, door prizes, stuff like that we do.
Just like
to
you had at the
raise.
dance.
Yeah,
pretty
just
much.
like the dance. Yeah, yeah. But the cool thing about the motorcycle rides is we go from Bentley's, and then we have 2 destinations we go to, and they change usually every year. We've done a couple duplicates over the past few years, but yeah, usually we go to another bar or another place, and then stop there for about an hour, and then go to another place, stay there for another hour, and then head back to Bentley's, and then there's a big pig roast, and everything else is done right there.
How many people actually showed up for the annual dance this year?
The annual dance, ooh, that's a good one. I don't know, I'm trying to think of. I want to
Making
say
it-
it was like 180 to 200 people, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And were they mostly your family and friends, or were did they just hear it from word of mouth, or?
Well, actually, a good mixture of everything. I think the majority of people actually knew me, but I met a lot of new people that was like their first time actually going.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was awesome.
And how many people usually show up for the Bentleys?
Right around the same, actually.
That's really cool.
Yeah. For bikes, I think we've been running maybe 120 to 150.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Well, do you think we covered everything?
I think so.
I think we did too. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming on. You and Monica are both an inspiration to me. So you're an inspiration, both of you. So I really enjoyed talking to you, and I hope everyone enjoyed the show and got some good information.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did. Have a great Christmas. Bye.
Ashley asked me if I'd write her a song, so I wrote her a song for her awesome show. Her show is cool and it's lots of fun, so get your popcorn ready, everyone. Who will she interview on her show today? The Jonas Brothers or Nick Lachey?